Assalamu alaikum. My name is Salim Siddiqui, and thanks for watching the Hot Conflict video series talking about Eid al-Akbar, or the great celebration of the Muslims called the Great Eid, or the Eid of Sacrifice, where Muslims like myself gathered even here in Houston with their families to pray and worship to the Lord Most High, while at the same time believers from all over the world were gathered in the holy house in the Arabian Peninsula at Mecca, where Abraham and his son Ishmael built a house to worship the Lord. And we've been telling the story and talking about the importance of some of the details. And so, again, like I said, whenever we start any of these videos, I need to give a little disclaimer. Always on the hotconflict.com website, we talk about Islam and some of the different issues from pop culture and myth and storytelling, and how we look at these issues and dispel some of the misconceptions and understand things from a different perspective by using terminology and an explanation in our modern times, while still referencing classic scripture from the Quran or the Sunnah, meaning the book of God or Allah, and the statements of his messenger Muhammad. And we've said in many of the videos, Allah, the term Allah in Arabic refers to the Lord Most High, the God who created you and me and the world that we're in and the universe and all of the things that are in it. Allah, who is above and higher than all of this. Allah, the only one that there is to be worshipped. La ilaha illallah, the statement of the Muslims, which means there's only one God. Right? And so we've been saying, what are the fundamentals of faith? The fundamentals of the faith that all the prophets came and were sent with from the Lord are all the same, from Adam and all of his children downwards, that there is a God Most High, and he is the one who created us, and he created Adam. He created the angels who are made of light, and he created another type of race called the Jinn. They are in the other dimension, or they're part of the unseen world. They're made of smokeless fire, as described in the original Arabic. That could be understood as power, plasma, energy, some other form. And we know from texts and authentic sources that there are many different races within the Jinn. There are many different categories of the Jinn, including different sizes, and some that have wings and tails, and some that are reptilian and shapeshifters, and all the other descriptions that we have from the text. And so we've been talking about this concept, and that all of this is there for us to see, and that God sends prophets with signs and miracles from the Lord and books, and that there is a day of judgment where you will be judged for your actions, and there is punishment and reward both in heaven and hell, which is eternal and everlasting, and that you have been created out of clay and mud, or earth, and breathed into a soul, and you are the children of Adam. And that there is a constant war going on between you and Satan, who was the leader of the Jinn race at that time, who challenged Allah, the Lord Most High, that our race, the human race, the children of Adam, cannot be superior. And so we know that this struggle is going on. And we were talking about the history or the truth of the story. And I've been getting into a lot of strange concepts. So again, I'm giving that disclaimer that we're going to be talking about some strange things. Now, in the last video where we left off was... we left off with Musa. Like I said, I'm going to give a little disclaimer. The things I might say might sound strange and ridiculous. They might be told to you for the first time, and you might be hearing the truth in a way that you've never heard it before. I might use terms that you never heard used to describe the situation, and so it could make you feel very uncomfortable, but what I'm telling you is true, and if you pay attention to the details and listen to the story and think about it and ponder on it, there is a chance that you just might see something. And so we get to Moses, and we described how Moses went through this miraculous situation where Moses was from the children of Israel, from the descendants of Jacob and his sons, from Isaac, from Abraham, who was the pillar and our father, who made the vow to establish the fact that our human race, our bloodline, will always be believing in the one true Lord, and he wanted from his descendants to be great believers. Now, that doesn't mean, obviously, that every person who's ever from that bloodline is always going to be a pure saint. No, there's people who believe and disbelieve. But, I mean, he wanted to have his descendants be great in number of true believers in the one Lord, as Adam taught his sons, and Noah taught his people, and Abraham taught Isaac and Ishmael. And so the children of Israel were hardcore on the remembering of the one true Lord. And they were the ones on the planet who were worshiping that true one faith. And we have a situation where the Jews found themselves in Egypt. And Moses is born in Egypt, and because the pharaohs were trying to make sure that the signs that they had heard of the coming prophets, like we said, that the articles of faith are all the same, and so all the prophets always told everyone else the same articles of faith. All of this is planned and destined, and there are prophets coming and books coming, and this is the way it's going to go, and so beware of the signs. And as a matter of fact, we even talked about this, and if you don't know this, go back to the section on Noah, where we mentioned the fact that even Noah warned his people of all the coming prophets and told them signs on what to see for who are the true prophets, and warned of the false prophet, which we term the Dajjal, the final false Messiah that many of the scriptures talk about. And so the prophets all taught their people the same articles of faith, and so the people in Egypt, and we've talked about this in other videos, so I don't want to get too deeply into it. It's very clear that the pharaohs had figured out a way to work with some of the other alien jinn races. And if we go back through history and go see the evidence that we have in Egypt, we know to this day that scientists are still debating how the pyramids were built and when they were built. If you talk to any Muslim scholar, they can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, they've known from the very beginning that the pyramids were built using magic. And I'm sure if you spent some time with a Jewish scholar, even if you're not Jewish and, got to know them after a few sessions and they, trusted you, they would tell you, yes, they know that the Egyptians were using sorcery and all kinds of alien technology and mixing with the other races, and this was a problem. And you can see the evidence in the Egyptian tombs and the hieroglyphics and some of the depictions of the flying saucers of aliens, the depictions of the reptoids, the depictions of the half man, half animal creatures. Again, so many references to the stars, and even this whole design and structure of the pyramids and the specific mathematics put into it, and the alignment with the different star systems that we know are related to specific alien races, that modern day ufologists have concurred that some of the jinn races are living in certain solar systems and have inhabited different parts of the galaxies as well. And so we know that they had been working at that time, and even some specific Egyptian hieroglyphs showing, for example, the helicopter on the Egyptian tombs, the flying saucer, and some of the other things. And so we know that the jinn race, although normally people don't describe the jinn to you as alien races or extra-dimensional beings or creatures who have the ability to morph, or they're smokeless fire, energy, plasma, electricity. They're another form of creation, and they have their own technology, and they have their own lineage. And Satan obviously was one of the what normally people in modern day times would call draconians, reptoid, shape-shifting, telepathic abilities, horn-ridged heads, long tail royals, if you understand the terminology. Now, Moses was predicted, as all prophets are predicted, and so the people of the descendants of Isaac and Jacob and the children of Israel knew that Moses was going to come. And so at that time, the pharaohs, and perhaps with some knowledge from the alien races, were able to suggest that the pharaohs kill all the male-borns to try and stop that Adam's bloodline from getting a new leader.